still forget that. Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the August 6, 2026 meeting of the Walton County Planning Commission. Thank you all for being here. I'm happy to be back. How many of y'all were watching TV in the 80s? Some of y'all with the same hair color as me didn't raise your y'all didn't want to raise your hand, you know. How many of you remember Welcome Back, Kotter? Okay, here I am. I'm back after 2 months. Welcome back, Kotter. I am glad to be here. I'm appreciative of Tim Kemp, who is not here at the moment, but stepped in as chairman in my absence for 2 months. I greatly appreciate that, but I'm so pleased to be back and thank everyone else that has been here and been a part of decision-making of the cases for the last couple of months. This evening, I want to let everybody know if there is a time that you would like to gain knowledge of anything that's on our agenda and you can attend, you can always join us on Walton County Facebook Live and view those meetings. I know Tracy, in my absence, I tried one night and there was been a little bit of an issue with Facebook. Well, we got that corrected, so we're up and everything's going well there. The meeting tonight, the cases that we hear tonight will be heard by the Board of Commissioners on September the 1st. The Planning Commission, we will meet again on September the 3rd. I'm going to go over a little bit of housekeeping real quick with you, and this is part of what we try to do in keeping our meeting moving forward as best we can. So I'm going to call and ask for the applicants for the cases to come up and give us the information as to what their requests are. And then after I have done that, I will ask for any opposition. I've set this aside for 10 minutes for each side. That's 10 minutes for each side, not 10 minutes for each individual. So obviously the applicant is usually one. The opposition could be multiple. If you guys could work with us either by having one person who speaks on behalf of a group, or if you would be very mindful that there's others who want to speak and keep your comments as condensed as possible. And then lastly, if someone mentions something, it's not really necessary for someone else to come up and tell us the same thing over. What I would like to do is if someone comes up after someone had spoken, that they would be able to convey something that we have not heard or concern that we have not heard. So if y'all could help us out with that, we would greatly appreciate it. And with that, I am going to ask Josh Ferguson if he'll open us in prayer. When he is finished with prayer, we're going to turn around and face the flag here and have the pledge. If y'all would join us with that, we would greatly appreciate it.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just come to you tonight thanking you for the ability to be in good health enough to come to this meeting. Lord, we thank you for the privilege to be able to do so. Father God, I just pray that tonight you will let cooler heads prevail and allow us to make well-thought and meaningful decisions on behalf of the county. Father God, I just ask all these things in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you guys. We really appreciate you doing that. At this time, I would like to show that all members are present with the exception of Tim Kemp and Chris Alexander. So those two are absent tonight. Before I open up the opening format, public format of our meeting, I would like to ask if any of the representatives have any cases that they would like to table before I open public comment. None? Very good. At this time, if each one of you has had an opportunity to review our minutes from our last meeting, if you would please, if there's no additions or alterations that need to be made, I will take a motion for approval, or if there is something that needs to be modified, if you would please let us know.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you so very much. So we do have on our agenda for the evening, as I now will open the public portion of our meeting, one case, old business, and we will be going to that first. So this will be Z260159 to rezone a portion of a parcel, 4 acres from R1 to A1 to have personal outside animals. Applicant owner, Fig Leaf Risk Advisors LLC, properties located at 3084 Brooks Trail. Is that applicant here? Okay, if you could step up to the podium and please tell us what your plans are or what you're trying to accomplish here with your zoning request.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Michael Campbell, and we thank you for the time to hear our request. My wife and I are requesting approximately 4 acres of our 83-acre property to be rezoned from R1 residential to A1. Our goal is simple. We want to use a small portion of our property as a hobby farm for our family while preserving the natural rural character of the land. The Homeowners Association publicly claimed that our property was subject to the HOA restrictions and stated that its attorney had prepared an opinion supporting that position. We respectfully requested a copy of that opinion so that we could better understand their position, but our request was denied. Because of the conflicting information, we sought legal counsel to better understand the issues surrounding our property. While these legal questions are still unresolved, we've made every effort to be transparent and forthcoming by sharing the information and findings available to us throughout this process. I mention this only because it explains why there's been confusion surrounding our property. I understand the declarations itself is not the issue before you tonight. I'm not asking the Commission to resolve that legal question. My request this evening is simply for the rezoning of 4 acres based on the merits of the application. Turning to rezoning itself, we believe this request is both reasonable and compatible with the surrounding area. We are seeking A1 zoning on only 4 acres of the land that exceeds 80. Much of the land surrounding is already zoned A1, making this request consistent with the nearby land uses. This is not a request for commercial agriculture, a livestock operation, or an intensive use of the property. We simply want a small hobby farm with a limited number of animals for our family's enjoyment. The animals will remain in a fenced area on our property. The land where the animals will graze is simply approximately 200 feet from the nearest neighboring property line. We intentionally chose that location because it's closest to our residents, minimizes additional land disturbance, makes our daily care practical. This request will not increase residential density. It will not create significant traffic. It will not require additional public infrastructure. Instead, it will preserve open space and maintain the rural character that drew us to Walton County. We've worked diligently to comply with the county's requirements throughout this process. We've made every effort to be respectful of both our neighbors and the county. I understand that change can sometimes create concern. I simply ask this application be considered based on the facts before you and the planning merits of the rezoning request. We believe this is an appropriate, low-impact agricultural use that is compatible with the surrounding area and consistent with Walton County's rural heritage. Thank you for your time, your consideration, your service to the community, and we respectfully ask for your approval of our request.
Thank you. At this time, just stay right there if you don't mind for a minute, sir. At this time, is there any questions from any of the board members for this applicant?
To what extent would the hobby farm be? What are you proposing?
We're trying to do 4 sheep, 4 goats, and up to 12 chickens, and that would be the max. And we're just trying to graze the, I'm sorry, 4 chickens, or sorry, 4 goats, 4 sheep, 12 chickens would be the maximum we're asking for. We only have 3 stalls, which is 440 square feet of the barn dominium would actually be allocated for animals, so it's a kind of a small space, so we really couldn't do any more than that in the barn dominium. And it's really to graze the hill going down as a sloped hill, and it would keep us from having to use a tractor or, you know, something else to graze that for us.
Thank you. Any additional questions?
You currently live in the barn dominium or in an adjoining home?
Our home is on the lot right next door. It's 3085 Brooks Trail on a 3-acre lot. The 86 acres only has the barn dominium, and we're using it to help our aging family members and have small groups and stuff like that in it. So it's not like we're not going to be living in it.
So you won't have a permanent residence at that barn dominium?
No, it will be in our possession, but not a residence.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'll talk up. I'm sorry.
Josh, I don't know if it's worthy, but maybe whoever could not hear the last reply, if you want to repeat what the applicant said there to your question.
Sure. The barn dominium will not be used for our residents. We built it, our aging parents live in Idaho, and we wanted to provide a spot for them, you know, if they want a snowbird here. And also, you know, when family comes into town, it's primarily a residence, and then we have a large garage area that's heated and cooled, not appropriate for animals, that will be used for like a small group space, or if we ever had, you know, a vehicle or something that we needed to store there.
Okay, any other questions?
But the only access you have is through the community, right?
It is.
There's nothing out
Yes.
to 81 in the back of
Correct.
the property.
Correct. And our house is the only house on the cul-de-sac, so we do share. One side of the cul-de-sac is our driveway to our residence. The other side of the driveway is to the barn dominium. And I know that some of you may be concerned about the gravel, and we will address that. It's part of the building process that we will make an apron to make sure that that gravel is taken care of.
The barn dominium, it don't really go with the community over there. Did y'all go through the HOA to get approval of what you built?
We did. We did not think that we were subject to the HOA covenants, but as a courtesy, we did go to the HOA and ask for a metal building to be built that size and approximately that location. We did have to turn the building, and I do have I don't know if I actually added it to your paperwork, but we did have to turn the building. I think it's like maybe 35 degrees or 40 degrees from where we said it would be. It does make it slightly more visible, unfortunately, because we turned it a little bit, and I know that is a concern that we are hoping to address and hoping we can talk to the HOA board about that, which we've never had any communication with the HOA board about this yet, the current sitting board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I've got a few questions, but I'm going to hold them for your time of rebuttal. So we appreciate it. You guys can have a seat. Is there anyone here tonight in opposition to this request? All right, so obviously I can't give 10 minutes to each one of y'all out there. Hopefully y'all have somebody who can speak on their behalf, or the ones that I'm going to call up can be timely. Yep, okay. So by you standing, does that mean you're walking? Come to the podium, give us your name, address, and then state your concerns.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Ed Fair, and my mother and I live in the neighborhood 1620 Bluff Creek Trail. And we're here in opposition to the rezoning. If you look at the application for this rezoning, I think it's page 10 on tonight's agenda. The reason says, quote, "To allow appropriate tax classification for the structure and to permit raising farm animals on the property," end quote. A little bit about that structure. It's already built. It's quite large, and it's far out of character in the neighborhood. And it was built despite much opposition from the neighbors. If the owner didn't understand the tax implications of building his structure, that's on him. And if he didn't understand the livestock restrictions on his property, that's on him too. So now he's trying to turn his problems into our problems. So even if he promises only to do 1, 2, and 3 with the property today, there's nothing to stop him or the next owner in the future from doing 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, and 10. For example, put a cell phone tower up. Put some electrical lines through the neighborhood. Or open an Airbnb. So it's for these reasons that we would ask you to deny the application. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Well, you jumped up, so I don't know what I'm gonna tell you now. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, once you jump up, I ain't gonna tell you no. What would your husband tell you?
He doesn't tell me no.
Okay.
My name is Jessica Seifrid. I live in Alcovey Bluffs. Many of our neighbors have asked me to speak tonight on their behalf regarding this rezoning request. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. We, as a community, respectfully ask that you deny this request to rezone these 4 acres of the property from R1 to A1. This is not about opposing anyone's desire to own farm animals or have a hobby farm. We respect private property rights. We also understand that the county has the authority to approve this request if it determines it is appropriate. However, with that authority comes the responsibility to consider whether the proposed zoning is compatible with the surrounding area, serves the public interest, and will benefit not only the applicant, but the surrounding community. Tonight's decision will affect far more than one property owner. So I do have a picture here. It's an aerial photograph from Google Maps. And it shows why this request is different. I probably should have given it to you beforehand, but it shows that there's only one entrance. There's only one way to access this property. And so while there are agricultural properties, I know he said there are many agricultural properties surrounding the area, those are not accessed through Alcovey Bluffs. They're accessed from outside roads. So any future use of this property will directly affect the families who live there every day. There are more than 160 families invested in Alcovey Bluffs because it is an established residential community. The application states that the purpose of this rezoning is to allow a residence, pasture, a barn with animal stalls, and an orchard and garden for personal use. It sounds harmless, and we respect those intentions. However, A1 zoning stays with the land, not the owner. Today's proposal may be for personal use, but your decision will affect every future owner of this property. So in the rezoning application, it also says that this property is not part of a subdivision. And we did have a title search done. I have that certificate. I did submit that to the county for y'all's review beforehand. Happy to give it to you also, and the entire community. But I did send a message out to the community with a summary of that said exactly what it was. So we've also been told by the county that enforcing private covenants is ultimately the responsibility of the HOA, and I completely understand that. We're not asking you to enforce our covenants, but we do not believe that lessens the commission's responsibility to make its recommendation based on complete and accurate information. So we simply ask that the commission carefully consider all of the relevant information before making a permanent zoning recommendation. While the Campbells did request approval for the barn dominium from the HOA. They did not approach the current board with their intentions before requesting this rezoning. We learned about it when you put the signs up. Also, many homeowners are concerned because of what has already occurred on this property. When the approval for the barndominium was requested from the HOA board, the written request stated that the structure would be positioned so that it would not be visible from the street. Today, the completed structure is clearly visible from Brooks Trail, particularly during the winter months when the trees have no leaves. Because of that experience, many homeowners are asking the commission to carefully consider not only the applicant's current intentions, but also the long-term consequences of permanently changing the zoning of this property. Through records obtained from Walton County open records requests, we were unable to identify another barndominium approved on R1 zoned property. While every application should be considered individually, this appears to be an unusual situation that has affected many homeowners in our community. Tonight's decision isn't about a barndominium, but it's also not just simply about 4 acres either. It's about balancing the rights of one property owner with the impact on an established residential community. We can't go back and change the decisions that have already been made on this property, but the commission does have the opportunity to shape what happens going forward. We respectfully ask that you preserve the residential character of Alcovey Bluffs by denying this rezoning request. Thank you for your time and your consideration, and also your service to Walton County.
Thank you. Any questions for this person that's in opposition here? Thank you, ma'am. Who else, who has something to state about this request that has not yet been stated? Because from now on, we're getting close to our time limit. If I start hearing things that's being stated, I'm either going to ask you to move on or let somebody else come up, okay? So just give me something different. That's all I'm asking for. Sir, state your name, your address, and tell us what your concerns are.
Dan Reynolds, I'm at 1429 Bluff Creek Trail in Alcovey Bluff subdivision. What I think it's important to note is that once this rezoning does go into place, and even though we've been told this evening there's going to be a couple of chickens, maybe a goat and a dog, the zoning does provide for large hoofed animals, horses, cows, etc., and they can be 2 per fenced acre. That means on 4 acres, we can have up to 8 of any one of those. Also, multiple, when it comes to goats, sheep, etc., you can have up to 8 per acre. Now, what concerns us is not necessarily what happens tomorrow, but what happens next year. Because once the zoning takes place, these rules are in place forever. That someone could take over this piece of property and basically start not a hobby farm, but a real farm. One thing to note, if cattle's put on there, just 8 cows produce. And I used Walton County Extension Service and the University of Georgia to get these numbers, but at 4,500 pounds per month, 4 head of cattle produce 36,000 pounds of waste each and every month. What's going to happen to that waste? Where does it go? Back through our neighborhood? Or is that property going to be able to sustain that? The prevailing winds there come off that property, being west by northwest, back through the neighborhood each and every day, and that's also given to me by the Extension Service. Community health effects from those who live within 200 feet of this can be quite, it can be a problem when you have this type of waste taking place. Elderly people, small children, asthma, COPD, etc. There are lots of reasons not to let this go to an A1 configuration where you can have that many animals on that piece of land, be it tomorrow or 2 years from now. There are too many people that live within 200 feet of this. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, now 2 of y'all jumped up at the same time. Okay. State your name and address. Tell us what you have.
Clinton Bostwick, 1609 Bluff Creek Trail. And I have a summary of what y'all basically already heard. I'd like to pass it to y'all guys, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So basically, that's a summary of what you've already heard, or some of it tonight. And I have 75 signatures that the neighbors signed to that basically agreed with those statements.
Do you have those signatures with you?
Yes.
Would you please hand them to Ms. Tracy?
Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you. Sir? Tell me something I haven't heard. New and improved.
My name's David Johnson. I live at 1625 Bluff Creek Trail, and I'm a 20-year resident of Bluff Creek. And before that, lived in a neighborhood in Loganville with no HOA, and it was the suburban Wild West. It was anything goes. And when we finally escaped there, we lost tens of thousands of dollars in equity because of what other people were just willingly allowed to do. And that's our concern here as we're dealing with this. I'm sorry, yes, and that's our concern here as we face this situation. As people have said, that we know what the plans have been stated for this, but they've been very fluid and vague throughout, and we're not really sure what could happen. But we do know one thing that's of concern, and the bottom line is this, is that the plans could potentially be very beneficial for the owner and whatever they plan to do. But for the rest of the community, for all the rest of the people, it's going to have zero benefit, and the fact is it could potentially have a very negative impact on us and on what is, for most of us, our biggest investment. So that being said, we do request that you not allow the rezoning to go through. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is anyone who has something new to add that's here in opposition that we as a board have not heard? Yes, ma'am. Please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and then tell us what you have.
Linda Dudish, 1601 Bluff Creek Trail. I just want to remind, I haven't heard every person, but I don't think it has been brought up. This actually impacts 3 different cul-de-sacs, not just one, which is next to the house, the actual residence. And then the other thing was that we were told we would not be able to see the barn dominium, and this is part of the permit. But the barn dominium is already built, and it's very visible. That's all.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you so much. Sir, I'm going to ask that you come back up for rebuttal.
I think that some, go ahead.
Yeah, pull that. Yeah, you're kind of tall there.
I think that some of the concerns are about if we are in the HOA and within the restrictions, and we understand if we are in the HOA and we're in the restrictions, obviously we will not have animals. This is only if the lawyers find that we are indeed outside of the covenants, which right now is still ambiguous. We're still doing our research to figure that out. Also, I did want to say that there is a petition with lots of signatures, and I do believe there was a lot of signatures there with information that wasn't accurate. I know that there was a rumor going around that it was a petting zoo that we were trying to have there, and without a number of other approval, we can't do a petting zoo at A1. That was never our intent, and that's something that would go through more scrutiny and more regulations, and we wouldn't be able to do that. And we also did try to approach the board. At this point, we've never talked to anybody on the current sitting HOA board, although we've reached out twice through email, I think
Also, my cell phone has been on the thread for every single neighbor to call. 2 have called. 2.
Thank you.
We've also approached I think we have approached the HOA president via text and phone, and the management company, although I know they're not the current management company, but we have approached them, and they said that they would not be sharing any information with us. So we've made attempts, and I do understand that seeing the barn is distressing for a lot of people, and we do want to address that. And we know that, you know, possibly putting up a gate is something that might help, but without communication with the board, HOA board, we wouldn't want to do anything like that. And we have planted some shrubs and stuff that will grow, and hopefully it will, at some point, completely be obstructed from any view from any cul-de-sac. And then also, we did get an evaluation of our property from a very reputable real estate agent, and I'd like to share that information with you guys. Right now, the barn dominium will be valued as the highest, it'll be the most expensive structure in the neighborhood if it's sold for what the real estate agent is asking.
This structure will bring the value of the neighborhood up. That's what we need to say.
Right. So I'm going to ask while they're up here if you guys can kind of help me out. Okay, if you can't hear, you can let us know you can't hear, but please no outbursts. They were very polite. They sat over there while you spoke in opposition and didn't interrupt. And for you guys to ad lib while they're up there, I think it's a little bit disrespectful, so if you could help us with that, I'd appreciate it.
Sir, can I mention one other thing too?
Sure.
So on the communication to the board, on the Facebook page, there was a communication that went out to the HOA. And in that communication, there was a notice saying if we wanted to get the results of a legal opinion, it was right there. You can ask for it and we'll give it to you. Within 5 minutes, I asked for it, and I did not hear any communication, and then later on, it was denied. And so in this process, we've tried to be communicative. We're sick over this. This has been a terrible situation, and we are nervous as all get out, and we have tried to be respectful of these Facebook boards that have said terrible, incorrect information. This has not been an easy process for us. And in it, we've tried to be kind throughout it. And we operated with the information that we had. That's it.
Thank you. I've got a couple of questions for you, and I'll open it up to any of the other board members that have a question as well. I'm going to make some assumptions, just asking you if you could just kind of answer these because they're just helping me filter things through my mind. You guys purchased this property, and when you did so, you went to an attorney's office for a closing, and for whatever sum you paid for the property, you were given a deed to this property. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Was that deed for the entirety, or was it in different parcels?
There's 2 parcels.
But
One-
so you were given deed to 2 separate parcels?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
In remembrance of that, do you remember that either of those parcels were identified by a lot number regarding the neighborhood?
Sir, I can't answer. I don't
Okay.
know.
And
Thank
there's-
you. I'm just, all I want you to do is answer what you know, okay?
Yes, sir.
There is not a plan.
Were you, sure, were you given a title policy at closing, a title insurance policy at closing?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think that's probably all the questions I have for you guys at this time. Does any other board members have any other questions? I do have one more. Has your use of the property from when you initially bought it, what your intent to do with that property, has it changed from the time that you bought it till today?
No, sir.
So you intended in the very beginning to have animals?
We did not, we knew we wanted to use the land in some way.
So just give me a yes or no. At the day you bought it, did you intend to have animals? She said no.
She's the boss.
Right. Well, I mean, it's just an honest, real quick question, so no. So what that tells me is that since you've owned the property, there's been a change of something that you guys have done, that you've had a change. You want to do something different, that you got a large piece of property in the back of you there too, so.
Use it.
All right, very good. Any other questions from any other board members?
Yeah, one.
Okay?
Correct me if I'm wrong, did you make a statement that you went through the HOA as far as the location of the barn dominium and they requested it to be changed, the direction of it?
No, there's a piece of paper, I handed it to you. Initially, we had told the HOA that it was going to be in that little yellow square on that paper that I gave you. And then we did have to rotate it because the grade of the land was too sharp. We couldn't actually get a stable enough foundation. So we did have to rotate the barn a little bit, but that was a change that we made that was different than the HOA. But at the time, we honestly thought that the HOA, we were only being considerate and that we didn't actually have to get their approval. We were under the assumption, well, not assumption, I mean, it's even on some of the Q Public says we're not in the HOA, and plats that say we're not in the HOA, and our deed that says we're not in the HOA. So we did not think at the time that we were in the HOA.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Thank y'all, appreciate it. Yeah. So is there anyone here who would be a proponent of the applicant that would speak on their behalf that is in favor of what they're doing or their request? All right, thank you. So at this time, I'm going to close the public comment section for this request. I have a lot of stuff in this. This came to me. I wasn't here last meeting. This was tabled. It came to me this afternoon. I have talked to multiple individuals this afternoon regarding this case. It's quite odd. I'm going to look at this in three different objective views. One is I sit here as the chairman for the Planning Commission. One, 28 years as a licensed realtor. And thirdly, as a member of the community. So I kind of have three different, I live a very short distance from this property. One thing that I asked questions initially, I called Christy this afternoon, and my question was, Christy, was there a final plat for the neighborhood recorded? And obviously, if you guys are living in houses there, the answer is yes, because you could never get the title to a property without a recorded plat. That's where the final recorded plat indicates every lot that's in that neighborhood, and it has a ton of notes that are required by the development department. It also shows each and every lot, usually on a sidebar. It will indicate each lot in that neighborhood. My second question to Christy was the partial or any portion of the partial that is the request is being made for tonight, was either of those partials given a lot number? And Christy, the answer was no. I actually have in front of me, while we're sitting here, I just, because I have quick access to it, I've pulled up the tax records. And I'm not going to say exclusively because that would be a bit unfair, but I will say predominantly, if I pull a tax record up and the property I'm looking at is part of any neighborhood, the name of the neighborhood is listed on the tax report. neither of the parcels, whether it be the large parcel they have or the smaller parcel, which is being requested tonight, neither of those pop up with a subdivision name. I just told you in what capacity I'm viewing this. So the one I did not mention, and there's a fine lady sitting out here with a blue dress on, who would remind me quickly, I'm not an attorney. But after attending hundreds and hundreds of closings, I will say there are certain things that take place that we adhere to and acknowledge. And one of those is that as we have clients who purchase in neighborhoods that tell us, hey, we would like to have a survey of our lot where we can install a fence, our reply is, that's on a final plat that's recorded for the entirety of the neighborhood that shows all of the lots, and you can do so by contacting a surveyor. They will reference the final plat, find your lot, find the dimensions, stake your lot, build your fence, but you have to go and you have to find the final plat. It shows every lot. If you're looking at a 5-acre out parcel, obviously it's gonna only show that 5 acres. There's just one parcel. But in subdivisions, they're recorded as a final plat recording. At that time, also deemed necessary would be if there's gonna be HOA or covenants, that those HOA, or that the covenants would be recorded at the same time. The covenants would be applicable only to, in most cases, the lots that are referenced on the plat that's being recorded. It would be frivolous for someone to put a neighborhood next to my house and then the HOA of that neighborhood want to impose their covenants on me because I'm not listed on the plat. So in asking Christie if their lot or their property is shown on the final recorded plat for the neighborhood and the answer being no, then the only assessment I can make, not being an attorney, but just trying to conceptually understand things, is that there should not be any adherence by them if they're not on that final recorded plat. I mean, that's just me trying to use common logic. So I take that and then I start looking at other things, and some of those being the question that I ask, was your intent when you bought the property to have animals? No. Well, do you have the right to change your mind? Certainly. I've changed the use of my property. I didn't have to change the zoning, but I've changed the use of it several times. You know, I used to have cattle, now I don't. I do other things. I mean, I just changed the use of my property. So do I have a right to do that? Yeah, I mean, I could have a right. It's my property. I paid for it, paying taxes on it, so I should have a right to use it in the manner I wish to use it. So I'm trying to just build in my mind as I'm looking at this, and then I'm thinking about the rest of my agenda tonight. I'm not trying to give fuel to the fire, but I have a couple of subdivision requests tonight where we're going to hear cases that are asking to be rezoned from A1 to R1 for a neighborhood. I would like your participation a little bit, if any of y'all can remember that and your tenure in the neighborhood is long enough. About 4 years ago, there was a request to rezone the 142 acres at the corner of 81 and Double Springs Road to R1 for a neighborhood. How many of y'all remember that by raising your hand? How many of you were opposed to it? One guy, come on, y'all be honest with me now. How many of you? Yes, ma'am, you raised yours halfway, you must be Baptist. So here's where I'm going. I'm going to have people tonight who are going to come to the podium, as you guys did, and they're going to tell me why I should really contemplate not allowing the use of a subdivision on an agricultural property on the same night that I've got someone who is wanting to take a piece of property that's zoned as a quote-unquote subdivision, R1, and change it to agricultural. Secondly, the 142 acres after it was zoned, and it was zoned R1, was then zoned back to A2. So it currently sits there as A2. They can have the cattle. There's been cattle there for years, and some of you guys was in support of the cattle and not the houses. The other thing I find most ironic is with this property being zoned R1, without anyone coming before us and simply going before Christie and the plan and the development department, that property can be further utilized today, if deemed so, as a continuing portion of a neighborhood with easily, at a minimum, of 70 lots, which means you're going to have 70 more families commuting through your neighborhood, okay? You're going to have the traffic from the development itself, tracking mud and concrete trucks. It's the only access point. And you're going to have all the constructions of all the houses being built for the next 5 or 6 years. And for me to think that you had rather be imposed by that as opposed to 4 animals, 8 animals, whatever, on 84 acres they own. I understand we're only looking at 4, but they have 84 acres zoned R1. And if their future plans would be to alter that to A as well, and I don't know what their plans are, but I mean, if it was, seems like it'd be much less evasive than 70 plus more families coming in and out your neighborhood. That's just me. I mean, that would be me. It doesn't mean it coincides with everyone. So, I have been able, hopefully as you can tell, to give a whole lot of thought to this afternoon. And those are just some of the thoughts that I came up with. And the reason I bring those up is because I didn't hear any of them mentioned tonight. You know, as I was attentive to what you guys were saying, I didn't hear those things that were said as to how can we look at this in a different manner? What can the property be used for? I don't know what's going to happen. I can tell you what's happened in other counties around us. You know, if sewer ever becomes available, they follow rivers for the flow of for sewer. And if that were to ever, I mean, 84 acres, then you get 3 units to the acre and you're looking at almost 200 houses. I'm just saying, somewhere down the road. Who knows? I mean, but that we're against farm animals and agriculture one moment, and then the other time you're here and you're against homes because you want the agriculture. I mean, I'm at a bit of a struggle. I don't have any hair left, so I quit pulling my hair out a long time ago. So, but it's just hard for me to understand. I don't take it that I don't understand your concerns. And I do have a question that if you as a subdivision entity, and that'll be determined obviously in a court system, but if you have a way without them being considered a lot number on a recorded plat to impose your covenants upon them, or if they should even seek your approval. I mean, I don't know any of that. None of us know it until it's decided. So, ma'am, I'm not coming back to public comment. I'm not, okay. I'm good. So those are my concerns, and those are just some thoughts I had. I hope that you guys will exercise those, because this is not a final decision tonight. This will go before the Board of Commissioners. That's where the decision will be made final. Hopefully it'll give you some time to kind of both sides. I appreciate the fact that you've offered your number to the people in the community. I hope you guys will communicate, and you know, maybe more common ground can be found. But I do find it quite an ironic situation. So with that, is there any other discussion upon any of the members of the board? If not, I will ask for a motion regarding this case.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion. In considering this application, I'm looking at the appropriateness to the current development patterns in the area. I appreciate your explanation there. I don't think that the fact that whether or not the covenants apply to this property is not weighing on this decision. That's something for the attorneys to sort out. The county does not enforce HOA covenants, as you're well aware. But the fact of the matter is that the property is zoned R1 and was originally included in the subdivision, the proposed subdivision of the property. The fact that the property was not developed as such does not exclude it from that in my view. The access is solely through the subdivision, which additionally makes it inappropriate, and for those reasons, my recommendation would be for denial.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have no second. So I am going to make a motion that with the conditions, 4 sheep, 4 goats, 12 chickens, no more than that ever. Okay? Also, there was some concern brought up about a cell tower. That would have to come before us before it was approved. There was something else, another modified use that you were concerned about would come before us. Anything that would modify this property would have to come back before us before anything can happen other than what's being asked for tonight. So with the conditions of that limited amount of animals, and again, being appreciative of the fact that's been brought forth that we have no governance over any covenants, I am going to make a motion for approval of this request, and I will ask for a second. Second. I have a second. All in favor with your right hand of the second, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. It's 3 and 2 that did not support the motion. You got all that, Ms. Tracy? Thank you. All right, we're moving on with our agenda for the evening. Yeah, I'm going to take just a minute and let this group that's here for this case head on out, and then we will start back up. I'm going to wait on Mr. Banks to take a seat, and then we're going to move on with tonight's agenda.
That's what you get for having an old man on the board.
I know. I'm going to forgive you, and you're not an old man. Next on our agenda is new business, and we have LU 260188 and Z 260187, land use change from rural residential to agricultural from rural residential and agricultural to suburban, and rezone 5.99 acres from A1 to R1 to create a 5-lot residential subdivision. Applicant owner is Mark Sanchez. Properties located on Lachlan Road. Is the applicant present? If you would please step up to the mic, state your name, address, tell us what your plans are.
Yes, my name is Mark Sanchez. I live at 313 Millage. I'm asking this evening for my property. It's 5.99 acres on Lachlan Road to be rezoned to R1. Currently, it is raw, undeveloped land. The purpose of the rezone is to rezone the property from A1 to R1 to permit development of a 5-lot, single-family residential subdivision consisting of approximately 1-acre home site. The proposed development is designed to be compatible with the surrounding residential character while utilizing planned public water service and individual septic systems. So with that, about 500 feet from my property tract now, water has been installed. Bright Homes, I believe, owns 24 lots, 1 acre lots. It's demarked to the left of their property. My plan would be to bring that water line down to my tract, and then I would install it in the subdivision. And then I have a proposed road with a cul-de-sac at the end as well. And I have had this land surveyed. The picture up on the monitor is that you see. And what else? The name of the subdivision would be termed Lachlanver, be it that it's on Lachlan Road. And the type of homes that would be going on this would be matching the surrounding area. I've done my homework there, so about 850,000 to 1.1 would be what I would propose to build and sell for. I believe that is all I have to say. So if I'd open up for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Mr. Sanchez, this land to the west is the new subdivision that just went in.
Yes, sir.
You'd butt up to those lots.
That's correct.
That's right. And those lots are they 1 acre?
They are.
Okay.
Is there a pond on your property?
There is no pond, no stream. It's
How about a retention pond?
The area.
that will have to be, yes, that will have to be figured out, and I haven't gotten.
But it's not on your plat. It's not on what you're proposing.
This is just a survey that was done and a mock-up of what that would look like, but a retention pond would need to be figured out in a civil drawing, so I just haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay. I don't really as much have a question, just as a comment. So I look at a lot of subdivision plats. I'm going to look at a couple tonight later on. Man, you have got a ton of frontage just to pick up one lot. You got 5 lots in street that when you're completed, it's going to be donated to the county. And then the county is going to have to figure out how to maintain what's within this neighborhood off of just 5 lots. It just seems like trying to push this, and once you get retention on there, I think you're probably going to lose a lot, so then you're going to be down to 4. How the burden that's going to be placed on those homeowners for just the taxes to maintain their particular street, it just seems hard to make the economics. That's just a thought I'm having as I'm looking at it. Any other questions?
And Public Works noted a decel lane as well.
Yeah, she's stating that Public Works has indicated that there would need to be a decel lane, which is going to encroach on your first lot on the right coming in.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And I believe the price range you were talking about, the nearby homes is on larger tracks though, correct?
They are on larger tracks, but with the resources that I was putting in there, I was gonna do curb and gutter on there as well. And I was just gonna make it a 5-home site enclave there, and have the home prices be higher to account for what you're talking about. I did not know that I needed a decel lane, so that's new to me. I was hoping, is that going to be a fact? I'm going.
It's noted to us by
So it came from
the
Public
Public Works, Walton County Public Works reviewed your request, and then they noted back to us that that would be something that they would require.
Okay.
And they also noted verifying site distance with the entrance location.
I had called in and asked about a decel lane, so I guess I misunderstood because I didn't think I needed that for my particular project. But they're saying that that is needed.
Yes.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Thank you. We're good, sir?
Okay.
If I need, y'all get you back. Is anyone here in opposition to this? No one in opposition? Sir, you raising your hand? Well, I think if you could step up and put that into public record, we'd appreciate it, and we'll get that answer for you in his rebuttal. That's the best way for me to handle business. That way, everybody that's watching on Facebook gets to see you too. If you'd had on a Georgia Tech shirt, I'd have told you just stay back there. Uh-oh, I done made somebody mad up here on the board.
I'm Doug Fisher. I'm at 1141 Lachlan. The only question I really have is, the price sounds nice. How many square feet are these houses to offset the fact that it's on 1 acre versus, you know, most of it's 2, 5, or 6?
Thank you, sir.
Curious about that.
Yes, sir. I'll get an answer for you. Anyone else in opposition? All right, if you would come back up and just address that in your rebuttal.
Yes, sir. So that would be anywhere between 3,200 and 3,800 square feet.
Okay. Any other questions while the applicant's here? Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Is anyone here to speak on behalf of the applicant as a proponent? If not, I will bring it back to the board for a motion.
In lieu of the concerns that came up and the appropriateness for this area, I make a motion to deny.
I have a motion for denial. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Aye. One opposed. Two opposed. All righty. And this will go to the Board of Commissioners next month, okay? Tracy, you got the vote? Thank you. Next on the agenda for this evening is Z260189 to rezone 5.70 acres from A1, B3, M1, M2 to M2, B3 for a motor vehicle sales, auto repair, maintenance, salvage yard, warehouse, and outdoor storage, and variance on setback buffers to eliminate the 10-foot landscape strip along Highway 11. The applicant is Reyes Autos and Trucks LLC. Property is located at 2412 Highway 11 is the applicant here. If you would please step up to the podium, give us your name, and tell us what your plans are. And your address as well, please. Name, address, and tell us what your plans are for the property.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and member of Planning Commission. My name is Isa Khan, EK Engineering Consultant. The applicant for this case is located at 555 North Point Center East, Alpharetta, Georgia. And I'm an engineer with EK Engineering Consultant, and I'm here to present this application on behalf of the property owner. The property owner and the member of his team is with me, and they will be happy to answer any question later. As you can see on page 32 of the case number, the total site area is approximately 10.4 acres and is currently zone A1, B3, and M2. The property has historically been used for residential vehicle storage and salvage-related activities. And the proposed uses include motor vehicle sales, automotive repair and maintenance, salvage yard office, warehouse, and screened outdoor storage. This application proposes to rezone approximately 5.7 acres by rezoning A1 zoned portions to B3 and M2, and approximately 1.13 acres of the existing M2 zoning to B3. This proposed rezoning is consistent with Walton County 2022 future land use map. The application also will include some variances and transition buffer requests that we will discuss. Now, if you look at the page number 34, the top figure shows the surrounding zoning, which is the surrounding area contains both residential and commercial uses. The adjacent property to the north, the south, and west are preliminary zone A1, which are single-family residential, and the properties across Highway 11 include both commercial B2 and A2 zoned properties. Below that same page 34, the future land use map for this property is highway corridor character area, and the proposed B3 and M2 zoning is consistent with this designation. On the next page, the current zoning, as I discussed before, we have A1, M2, and B3 zone area. The total A1 zone portion are proposed to be zoned to B3 and M2, while approximately 1.13 acres existing M2 is proposed to be zoned to B3. And the proposed, as you can see on this page here, the proposed B3 zone provide a 200 feet wide frontage along the Highway 11, while the remaining area is proposed to be zoned M2, as you can see in this figure on the screen. This proposed zoning creates a logical and unified development pattern that is consistent with the highway corridor future land use designation. Also, if you look at this proposed development layout, including the general arrangement of building, access, parking, internal circulation, and other required site improvements. Some existing residential driveway along Highway 11 are proposed to be removed, while the remaining driveway access point are proposed to be modified. Any proposed modification to the existing highway access point will be subjected to GDOT approval, review and approval through the applicable permitting process. As I mentioned, there are some variances and transition buffer modification variances. The first one, if we look at this page on the top, is the B3 on the north side and also on the south side, the transition buffer variance for 0 feet. Because of this was an access easement before, and there is a current existing building that is in this area. So we are requesting for the improvement on the site and also to the existing building a 0 feet buffer. Also on the south side, we are requesting for this B3 area only a 0 feet buffer because there is an existing pond in this area.
An existing what?
A pond, retention pond.
Okay.
So those are the two reasons we are requesting those 0 feet transition buffer. Also on M2 zoning, we are asking for design modification and requesting a 25 feet transition buffer with screened fence. For the two existing properties that is renovated, that is supposed to be renovated, those properties are not satisfying the 60 feet front buffer front setback requirement, and we are requesting a variance for the two existing properties for that front setbacks. Also, we are requesting, to the extent possible, a 10-feet landscape strip variance along Highway 11 because of the existing property condition, because of the existing pond, and to accommodate the parking in this area. With that, to summarize, this application eliminates the existing split zoning configuration, creates a unified B3 and M2 zoning pattern, and is consistent with the Walton County future land use map, and it creates a unified zoning pattern that supports the coordinated future development. Also, it supports the continuous investment and economic activity along the highway corridor. With this, we respectfully request your recommendation to approve the proposed rezoning together with associated variances and transition buffer modification. Thank you, and we will be happy to answer any question from the commission or the crowd. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. On the shot that's up on the screen, the portion in the back where those parcels or portion of the parcel is shown as M2, what is the proposed use there? Everything around the front on the highway and then where the warehouses are, we have a definition as what that's being proposed, a proposed use for, but within that large area in the back, what is that proposed for?
Those will be a screen storage area.
A screen storage area. And what's going to be stored there?
Those will be salvage vehicle.
What type of vehicle?
Salvage.
Salvage vehicles.
Salvage vehicle.
Yeah. So we're talking about inoperable vehicles.
That's correct.
Wrecked, whatever, okay?
Yes.
You obviously have not yet saw GDOT, and good luck, but you haven't saw them yet, so you don't know if they're going to give you these two entrances?
So there are currently 3 on our preliminary conversation with them. The middle one is going to be avoided, eliminated. That's what the initial communication with GDOT, but they're asking for more information. And one.
So are you seeking 2 entry points?
2 entry points.
Okay, but as right now, you don't know if they're going to confine you to one with interior access, or if they're going to give you the 2. That has not been made yet, that determination, is that correct?
Yes, that is not made, and
Okay.
yes, that's not a part of the rezoning.
Right, and then you're indicating an existing building, which was, I think, for tire repair?
Yes, on the north.
That existing building, and it will be proposed to be used for that in the future as well, is that true?
That's true.
Okay, so you got the tire repair, then you've got the car dealership, and then as you continue south, you got the auto repair. The request says major and minor auto repair. Will these be like just typical vehicles or large trucks? I mean, can you tell me the breakdown of what you plan to work on?
Yeah, they're typical vehicles. What they're going to be used for is taking the salvage cars and.
Sir, come to the microphone, please.
Yes, they're going to be typical vehicles. What they're going to be used for is taking apart the parts that are good from the salvage vehicles, and they're going to be using those and storing those, and then using those cars and storing them in the backside on the M2.
Okay.
Do you, you're also running a wrecker service?
Yes, yes, sir.
It might be a 24-hour on-call?
No, it's going to be regular hours. Not 24 hours, no.
It'll only be working hours for the,
Yes, sir, only working hours.
One question I have, the area that is now A1 in the back, and it will be M2, and you said it's going to be used for storage of salvage vehicles?
Yes.
Has that property already been cleared, and are there salvage vehicles already on the property?
On the north side, on the A1 on the north side, there is, and it has been cleared, yes, sir.
It has been cleared,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Christie, is there any past history with code here?
There is, yes.
Recent?
It is under, well, this was what brought, a portion of it's already being used as a salvage yard for Mr. Harwell. And he went in and did some additional clearing out, and code enforcement had stopped him. So this is a result of code enforcement, to get a better understanding of what they're doing out there, what they want to do, and get everything in compliance.
Okay.
And add the two, on the northern side, the two back lots that are currently A1, and the south part of the A1 property that they have acquired, to rezone those to appropriate zonings.
Okay. And on that portion, warehouse office, that's mini storage warehouses, I would expect that you have there? Is that what you've got?
There is an existing building, and they are going to renovate it to the,
To mini storage?
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
And the office space that's designated would be for the mini office spaces?
That will be for the purpose of the salvage yard office.
So the office would be, so it would have nothing to do with the storage warehouses, it would only be for the salvage portion?
For the salvage portion of the. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Any additional questions? Thank y'all, appreciate it. Is anyone here in opposition to this request? Nobody in opposition. So I'm going to bring this back to the board for a motion. Any additional comments from any of the board members? Anything we need to talk over? So
I just want, I'd just like clarification from staff that a large portion of this property is already rezoned to M2, and the salvage yard was approved at that time, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
The salvage yard kind of predates the ordinance. Mr. Harwell did come in and bring that into compliance over time. And then this is just to get the rest of the property that has potentially already been used for this use into compliance. And then what hasn't been used in the back, has not been used in the back, in compliance with zoning, so that it could be further used.
Thank you.
Okay, so that clarifies that part of the property being asked for salvage has been, currently is being used and has previously been approved. Thank you. Josh, thanks for bringing that up. One of the things I wanted to mention is I certainly understand that you guys asking for the landscape strip up front that to be removed. I can appreciate that because I don't think there's a auto dealership that I've ever been by that didn't park their cars right out on the road. However, you have a tire repair and auto repair. So I don't want to give the same weight to those structures that I give to when you need visibility. There's certain things you need visibility for, there's things that you don't as a business owner, is what I'm trying to say. And I realize what those are. And at the same time, I think that there's a purpose for that landscape strip to be there. So kind of want to shed light on both of those in a reply. And also on the south side of the property, the comment was made in the request for the reduction to zero buffer in that there's an existing retention pond. Christie, would it be fair for me to say that with the addition of these other tracks into a salvage yard situation and the development of potentially new structures on the front and to the side, that the site plan and retention that's there now may not be adequate for future? Would that be?
That would be, and they would need to submit that what they're adding, that additional,
Okay.
that pond would hold it.
The pond that's there now would hold any additional
That
they
they would
add?
have to prove that all of this, if not, they would have to either increase it
Oh,
or
okay.
provide
Yeah,
additional.
yeah.
Yes.
And where the tire repair, existing tire repair is there, what is the abutment of the adjoining property? Yeah, well, just what's the use and the zoning for the adjoining property on the side, which would be the north end of the frontage?
On the north is an A1 piece of property.
Okay. So the adjoinement where there is it's really hard to read in that small print, but on that north end, that last building is an existing tire repair building, according to the applicant. There's also a request there for zero. How about one of you guys step back up for just a second? So my question is, on the north end where the tire repair is, the adjoining property there is being indicated as an A1 property, is that correct?
Yes,
And you're asking for zero variance to adjoin an A1 property, so you're wanting to take a B3 A1 with zero,
so there is an existing easement, driveway easement for the A1 properties on the back side. And this is the back of the building, so there will be no noise because of the existing masonry wall. And the front of the tire shop is is toward the driveway that we are showing. So it's toward the south side.
so the entrance to the south side, the rear of the building faces the A1, and on the A1 property, there is a drive that goes up directly behind there. It's an easement to a property in the rear.
Right, so we are removing that A1 zoning, so it's going to be M2 now. So there will be no need for that driveway access easement. So we are removing that driveway on the north side. And using that area because there will be a need for a septic system. So we may need to use that area for a septic system as well. But since this is the back of the property, the back of the building, it wouldn't create any noise because it's a masonry structure as well.
Okay. I think thank y'all. I appreciate you answering that. You guys can have a seat. I think that the fact that the property has a current use for salvage, storage, this would be a modification to make that a bit larger, but also to add some various other opportunities, I might say, to the area. It is certainly well within the character area map. I can't dispute that at all. But there's a few things just for concern that I want to see addressed. So I'm going to make a motion of approval with the following conditions. On the south side of the property where the current retention is, any area being shown on what we have, Christie, and I'm referencing what's up there, that to me is in a color brown, because the back portion says screened salvage. And so therefore, there is a line that circles around the warehouses and the office area that is not within the portion that would be deemed as screened salvage. So anything from where the retention pond does not intersect the adjoining property, anything from that point all the way back past the warehouses will be screened in the same manner as the salvage storage in the rear. That will be at a minimum of a 6-foot opaque fence along that whole south boundary back to what they've already indicated as screen storage. And the screen storage itself will also be a 6-foot opaque fence. The portion on the north end where the tire, it's indicated for tire repair, that a 0 variance is being requested, understanding that's the rear of the building. We do have an adjoining property there. Also would want the 6-foot opaque fence to go from the section showing as salvage storage, screening all the way to that abutment up at Highway 11, all behind that building. On the front of the property, a portion being used and identified as a car dealership showing parking spaces out near the street. That section and that section alone, I'm recommending that the landscape strip requirement be removed for the part there where the car dealership is identified, and only that portion. Any other portion fronting Highway 11 for auto repair, tire repair, the required landscape strip would have to be maintained as the code has identified. And that will be a completion of my recommendation with approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. This will go to the Board of Commissioners next month. Thank y'all. Okay, next on the agenda for this evening, Z260192. This is to rezone 103.56 acres from A2 to R1 OSC to create 57 residential lots. The applicant is Ballpates General Contracting, LLC. The owner is Grady Thompson Enterprises, LLLP. Properties located on Nicholsville Road. And I believe this person I referenced earlier in the night with the blue dress on is going to step up and present this. So come on up, give us your name, tell us what the plans are here.
Good evening. I'm Andrea Gray, 300 East Church Street, Monroe, Georgia. This evening, I'm representing Baldpates General Contracting, LLC, and its request to rezone approximately 103 acres from A2 to R1 OSC for a residential development called Bison Landing. The property is just east of Fanny Thompson Road and just west of Highway 11. It has frontage on Nicholsville Road. It is in the neighborhood residential character area under the future land use plan, which does allow for the requested zoning of R1 OSC. Here's just the general stats of the project. It's 103.56 acres. We're proposing 57 homes, 49.32 acres of open space, significant open space on this property. We're proposing to combine this with the Bison Landing development that was approved last year. And so when we combine those two together, they'll be together 221.75 acres. There'll be a total of 149 homes and a total of 82 acres of open space. When you average all of that together, it's about 1.5 acre per home. Here's the site plan with some notes made here. The thing that stands out really from the site plan is all the dark green, which is the open space. 49.3 acres. There's an amenity lake within that, and we'll have a pavilion and a walking trail around that lake. We've got landscape strips where the frontage is on Nicholsville Road at the entrance, and then at another spot where we come back down to that road. We've got the 50-foot transitional buffers around the property. And we've got, at the top there, you'll see that there's 2 connection points to the existing residential development, the R1 OSC development to the north. So we will tie into that development. And here's a depiction of the developments together. So once we tie in, you'll see that we'll have an entrance off George Williams and then another entrance off Nicholsville Road. So we'll be able to flow traffic through 2 areas of the development. Again, land use compatibility, the neighborhood residential future land use designation accommodates this type of development. This is a fantastic location halfway between Monroe and Bethlehem. It's already getting popularity and the demand for housing here in Walton County. And again, the R1 OSC I favor anyway because it allows the green space to be contiguous together and then the lots to be a more manageable size. The community design and amenities, again, on this 103 acres, there's 48% open space, which is nearly 2 times the requirement. We'll have the 2 entrances. It'll be governed by an HOA. And then again, the amenities that I mentioned before with the lake, the walking trail, and the pavilion. And then, of course, as standard in all of our developments, sidewalks and streetlights will be a part of this as well. The homes themselves, 1,800 square feet is the ordinance requirement. We're proposing 2,000 square feet per home with upgraded exterior materials, including fiber cement siding and brick and stone accents, sodded front yards, and then following the Walton County new tree ordinance requirements for trees. And then, again, this will be a high-quality community that blends in with the development to the north, which was also called Bison Landing, and so those will blend together as a cohesive development. And these are representative depictions of the houses, same ones that were used for the prior development. Again, high-quality homes, 2,000 plus square feet, long-term, durable, attractive materials. As mentioned before, 50-foot transitional buffers. A lot of the open space is already wooded, so we'll be leaving that as a buffer against the homeowners on Fanny Thompson Road there. And again, we're upgrading the entrance with a 10-foot landscape strip and be a very attractive development from the road frontage. We did have a traffic analysis completed on this property. That was included in the application that we prepared and submitted based on the trip generation thresholds that the Georgia Department of Transportation puts forth. The analysis showed that we would need to do right turn deceleration lanes coming out of Nicholsville and the George Williams entrances. My client's happy to do those. The analysis showed that we were not required, based on those trip generation standards, to do a center turn lane. So based on our analysis, we are going to do those 2 right turn deceleration lanes. And with that, we request approval of the rezoning from A2 to R1 OSC for the Bison Landing development. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions from any of the board members? Thank you. Is anyone here in opposition to this request? Well, ma'am, I would like for you to step up to this podium, tell us your name and address, and tell us what your concerns are.
My name is, I'm going to address my name as a Campton citizen from 1985. My name is Kelly Davis Connerly, and I became a citizen of Campton in 1985 when my mother brought me home from the hospital.
Kelly, would you give us your address, please?
Yes, the address in Campton or my
No,
home address?
Wherever you reside permanently.
Yes, 1250 Nicholsville Road.
Thank you.
Doster Manor. I'm speaking on behalf of Doster Manor Senior Care Home and Miller Manor Senior Care Home.
Okay, I know exactly what we're talking about.
Yes. So I just wanted to share that I have been a citizen since '85 because I love the soil I've been raised on. And I am here tonight not to oppose a subdivision. I'm here tonight to address the safety I don't know if you've ever been on Nicholsville Road between 4 and 6 o'clock at night. You can't get out on the highway. The traffic backs up all the way to Junior and Kanoy Parker's house now. And, you know, and we don't even have that 100-acre subdivision that the first phase that they're putting in. We don't even have homes in there yet. And so Nicholsville Road, do you know how long Nicholsville Road is?
I do. I travel it numerous times a week,
About
at
a
50
mile
miles an hour, mind you.
That's right. About a mile and a half long is Nicholsville Road. So what we're looking at is currently, right, well, we're looking at putting in 157 houses total on Nicholsville Road, and we already have a traffic issue. I've spoken to the Department of Transportation 3 times within the last 6 months. So they first were going to try to do a roundabout. So that was a consideration. But there's gas pumps under the ground at Campton Restaurant, and you can't do a roundabout because those gas pumps there are from the 1960s. So there's no option with that. And if you put a roundabout there, it would take out every business there basically, except for probably mine, because I have a little bit of frontage there. So my point is that it's a safety thing, and I want to say this, and I hope it's okay that I say this. There's a 94-year-old man that lives on Nicholsville Road. It's Tracy's father-in-law. He drives that road every day to turn into Nicholsville Road to the Miller house to see his bedbound wife in her 90s. It's a safety issue for him anyway, but he wanted her in Campton near his home so he can drive that little short distance to see her. And my point is that it's all about the traffic. I know there's going to be an entrance into George Williams, but do you know the curve where the entrance is going to be into George Williams? I'm a nurse. That's a fatal curve right there as it is, and tractor trailers fly up and down that road. I took care of Judge Sarles in that Doster house until he passed away. And you know what he used to say, Kelly? I'm going to get a red light here. I don't know how we're going to get a red light, but we're going to get a red light here. And I said all that to say is that area is so, I mean, how many accidents do y'all know of that Josh Parker faced? He puts it on Facebook. We've had another wreck, another hit to the Campton Restaurant, another one. In the past year, we've had at least 5. But from 4 to 6 o'clock, the traffic is backed up all the way to the Parkers. You can't get in the highway. I mean, there's no resolution for that. And you know, I say this, with 2 entrances, okay, one entrance is going to come out near where the Burgesses is, and that's within 1,000 yards of the other subdivision. I mean, how in the world is all this going to come and go? I mean, it's not even feasible. You're going to have a helicopter to bring them in to get people out with traffic. I mean, 157 houses. So, and it also, and I'm just speaking is, you know what, I know what I'm saying is null and void because it's David Thompson's family's property. Do you know his parents were some of the finest people I've ever met in my life? His mother filed my first set of taxes when I was 16 years old. If he'd have posted it for sale, I'd have given him $2 million for that 100 acres just to leave it farmland. Quick Trip can offer me $4 million for my corner right there. I wouldn't let them have it because the older I've gotten, I love the soil I've been raised on. And if Junior Parker was living, he'd be down here tonight speaking up as well. I'm saying that we don't have any more room for another subdivision right there. I mean, and you know, and we all have a problem on that road where the soil don't perk. Thompson soil perks. It perked over there where they bought that property. The James Sales farm right next door to it, I take care of James Sales right now. And his farm is right there. You know, his soil don't perk. And I can promise you, all of that 100 acres they're trying to purchase, all of that don't perk. Some of it might, but there's going to be low areas that it doesn't. And and we're never gonna have sewer out that far. Sewer's never gonna come that far. I'm just saying, and I wanna go back, I don't wanna make it personal. I wanna go back to the fact, I love Campton. We don't need another subdivision. One with 100 houses on Nicholsville Road is enough. And we know the James Sales Farm's not gonna move as a subdivision because their soil don't perk. But one is enough. How about put a for sale sign on it? David told the cashier at the restaurant, I've got to sell it because my brother and sister want their inheritance. Put it up for sale. There's people that's got money that'll buy it. That's some of the prettiest farmland you've ever laid your eyes on there. There's people that'll purchase it. Why do we have to make it a subdivision? I just share my passion for Campton
Yes, ma'am.
and for the safety and for the residents that are there.
Thank you so very much. Anyone else in opposition? I'm going to ask the applicant to step back up. I'll make a couple little quick comments regarding, and while she's stepping up, let me ask, is anyone here as a proponent for the request or the rezone that wants to speak on behalf of the, in favor of? Okay. So, ma'am, I want you to understand that we heard everything and we greatly appreciate you being here tonight, okay? All right, Andrea.
Yes, sir. Well, I just want to say I greatly appreciate Ms. Connerly speaking tonight and her passion for our community and for her taking care of some of the greatest members of the community that have come through Walton County. I love her passion for that, and I appreciate her speaking tonight. In trying to kind of look at this from an objective standpoint, which this board that is what this board is here to do. When you look at this from an objective, legal, regulatory standpoint, we're checking all the boxes to be able to be approved for this rezoning. We're consistent with the future land use plan. We have done our homework on the traffic analysis. We've had an actual engineer look at this from a GDOT regulation perspective and given us advice on the things that we need to do to make those improvements to make this a safe development, and we're going to do those. We've got the 2 entrances to help the flow of traffic. And as far as GDOT, we can't control what the state does. You can't control what the state does. We're happy to have a conversation with GDOT about those 2 areas, but we're doing all that we can do on our development to make it as safe as possible. And when you look at the overall traffic, coming down Highway 11, our 2 developments combined, our 149 homes for both developments, would increase traffic less than 2% of what's already coming there. So we're not creating the problem here. We're doing all we can on our side for what we can control to make it as safe as possible. And once again, we're meeting all the requirements of the ordinance and the future land use plan. So with that, I'm happy to answer any other questions you may have.
Andrea, I know that you indicated that you guys plan to have a landscape buffer,
Yes.
if you want to call it that, out front, and you also know that I have been a part of not only the property that's adjacent that's going to be combined with this, but also one up the street. And in doing so, in consistency with what I have done on those, being that there's exposure from Nicholsville Road, both at the point of entry and also there's the other between the residential out parcels and the commercial out parcels on the corner.
Yes.
That the lady spoke of. I would like to see that when you're talking landscape buffer, we're more specific. There is no tree line as there was on the neighborhood up the street, so the whole thing's exposed. I want to see some type of fencing, shrubs, and trees that'll be future buffer from the roadway that are consistent with the other 2 in the conditions that were proposed on those. For that. And I'm asking you, that's what I'm asking you, do you see an issue with that with your developer?
No issue.
Okay. just following consistency there. I don't have any further questions at this time. Anyone else have a question? Thank you, Andrew. I want to address a couple of concerns. So first of all, I mean, I came there tonight. I went to Campton, took a right up Highway 11 here. I've been driving to Campton Restaurant and eating for 30-plus years. You might have, and I just don't remember you, and for that, I ask your forgiveness. As my hair continues to turn this color, I forget more. So, I mean, I know everything that has occurred, and I appreciate your concerns. I don't think that there's anywhere. I was just up at my dad's house today, so to get what used to be my grandfather's property to get to my dad's house, I have to drive through a neighborhood. Change is relevant. As long as we keep having children, we keep needing houses. So the use is the other thing, and I feel like that, as I just spoke, obviously there's been other requests and been very consistent. I don't care who the landowner is. That really doesn't matter to me. I have a protocol I follow, and that's being fair. Wouldn't matter who the landowner is. I don't have a right to tell one person yes and another person no. I don't feel like that's would be proper in any way if all of the other checklist is there. So, but I do want to tell you that I really appreciate your concerns and feel any pain that you feel. I live at the corner of Hickory Grove and Bold Springs. There used to be no subdivisions on Hickory Grove, and now there's 4, and I have a hard time getting out of my own driveway, and I have a hard time getting in Bold Springs Road. So it sneaks. I did hear someone the other day, Tracy, and if you heard anything, that somebody did tell me that their DOT was looking really hard at putting a traffic light there at 11 Nicholsville. Have you heard anything regarding that?
I haven't heard anything.
So anyway, hopefully that someday we will see that. We all know how that goes with state DOT, but hopefully we'll see it. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So
I've tried to deal with DOT. I'd rather pull
yeah,
teeth of a tiger on Prozac than I would deal with the DOT.
I'm with you.
They might promise a red light there, and it might be 10 years before we ever see anything. We're still waiting on one at 78 and Usman Road.
Yep.
From God only knows how many years ago. So
Yep.
just because the state might talk to you don't mean you're fixing to get it.
That's right. So with that being said, our task, or what we're tasked with, is we're tasked with looking at the request, looking at how it conforms to our land use map, and also does it adhere to general guidelines that we're given in consideration for any modification or change. And with that, I would like to make a motion regarding this case of approval with the condition that I spoke of, and this will include where your entry's going, and also that portion between the single-family residential homes and the commercial properties on the corner this lady here spoke of. So all of that would have to be inclusive of both the fencing, shrubs, and trees, all included in entry as a buffer between Nicholsville Road and this development to grow up in the future and give a good screen to that neighborhood. So that would be the only implication, and I think that's the only request outside. There was no other further request for variances or anything. So with that, that would be my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, 1 opposed, 4 approved. Thank you, and this will go to the Board of Commissioners next month. Next on the agenda for this evening is Z260195. This is to rezone 14.97 acres from A1 to A2 to create 2 1.5 acre buildable lots. This is going to be for the applicant's children. Rampersad. is the owner, and the property is located at 2940 Fanny Thompson. Sir, if you would please give us your name and address and tell us what you're asking for here.
Good evening, Chairman. My name is Neil Rampersad, and I reside at 2940 Fanny Thompson. And we're requesting zoning from A1 to A2. We've been residents in Walton County and operating a business for over 20 years. My kids here were educated in Walton County. They still live in Walton County. They attend church in Walton County. They serve in their community. They serve with Kids Outdoor Zone, and they've just been a blessing and a joy to raise. It was really heartwarming when our kids decided to, talked about building on our property. So we're requesting just A1 to A2. We had talked originally. My kids would say probably because I was cheap, I tried to do 1 acre, but Ms. Malcolm suggested that I do 1.5 and then turn it into A2. So that's our request.
Okay, and so these two sites will be for both of your children?
Yes, sir. One on one side, one on the other. Yes,
Yes, sir. All righty. Any questions from any of the board members? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone here in opposition to this request? Anyone to speak as a proponent for the applicant? No reason for rebuttal. Any questions, concern, comments amongst the members? If not, I would like to make a motion for approval as submitted for case Z260195. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Tracy, in a public format, I would like to note that I have made some mistakes tonight. I've not always, in my recommendations, quoted the zoning number, and you've probably caught on to that. That's because I've been absent for 2 months, and I apologize. But you keeping me straight, right? Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. We're so proud to have Christy and Tracy and the what?
The rest.
The rest? Yeah.
All y'all.
Our support staff, even Mark back here.
Hanging out in the back.
In the back, True Baptist back there. So we appreciate having all y'all here tonight. All right, so last on our agenda for this evening is LU 260179 and Z 260177. This is a land use change from employment center to neighborhood residential and to rezone 32.479 acres from A1 to R1 OSC to create 20 residential lots. The applicant's Reliant Homes, owners 81 Investments LLC, and the property is located at Cedar Ridge Road. And Mr. Butler, would you please step up?
I'll skip the presentation. This is a pretty easy one tonight. This is 32 acres on Cedar Ridge Road, just off Highway 78. We are proposing to develop a 20-lot subdivision here. First, we need to request a land use map change. This is in an employment center land use map, which would allow anywhere from B1 to B3 to M1 to M2. So we are asking for a much less intensive zoning as a R1 OSC neighborhood and requesting neighborhood residential to do so. That was done with the property to the west of us a couple years ago and developed into a subdivision under R1 OSC in a similar lot size and lot yieldage per the acreage. You can see in the shaded area, that is the proposed open space. We're providing the 50-foot transitional buffer and making that open space along the A1 property to the east and rear. As stated before, we have an R1 OSC subdivision just to the left of us. To the north of us, we touch the Meritage development that's in the city of Monroe that's about 300 lots on 200 acres, so a much more intense zoning there. With that, I will see if you have any questions and save the rest of my time for rebuttal.
Thank you. Any additional questions for the applicant? Ned, just stay right there just a minute. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Okay, all right. Come on up, sir. Give us your name and your address and tell us what your concerns are or what questions you may have. We'll allow Mr. Butler to come back and answer those.
John Ashley Barrientos. I own 599 Cedar Ridge Road, Ashley Hills Pet Center off Cedar Ridge Road, in between all these big developments. My biggest thing is that there's been a traffic report. We've already seen Row Road get shut off where there's no cross traffic there anymore because that got dangerous. This is a nightmare intersection. And I've got clients and employees it scares the hell out of me, especially the older clients that come down here. They try to turn off at 78. You try to tell them how to go up and go around and get on 138, get on that, get on 11, get back on 78. And that's more confusing for them than anything else. But my fear is just that's going to be a danger from what you're talking about all these other places, especially with Compton. Who knows when Georgia Department of Transportation will ever take a look at these things or try to resolve them. You know, that's kind of like a junction, I guess, of county and city right there. So I kind of feel like it's just in this little no man's land that nobody's going to pay attention to it until there's astronomical deaths of these students leaving that high school. Cedar Ridge Road's already pretty dangerous. That turn coming through there, especially in the wintertime, I mean, it's a lot of problems through there. There's issues with the county in that when we had trees fall down. I tried to talk to the sheriff about that, and he didn't even know where it was. It just interesting little area there, but we don't even have reports yet on what the neighborhood at the end of the road is going to be with 300 and some odd homes going in. I'm pretty sure they're going to be putting homes across the street there as well. I think they're already preset for that, so that's going to be another couple hundred homes. As far as a business owner, I love it. More homes, more people, more business, more opportunities for me. But I also look at the community, and I think we need to start looking at the danger that we're putting in this community with all these neighborhoods so packed together. Moving into this community, I've been here for 20 some odd years. Awesome to see the growth. Again, as a business owner, I love to see the growth, but I do think we need to put more into the aspects of the danger that we're creating on the roadways. Cars are going faster. Kids are getting these licenses. We're right there by a high school. So just something to think about. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Cool. Thank you.
Mr. Butler, if you'd step back up for rebuttal.
Yes, sir. So we did not do a traffic impact study on this one, and I'll be honest, with it being 20 lots, I know what it was going to say, and that we'll need to do a right-in decel lane. It's not going to generate enough traffic with 20 lots to require a left turn lane, so we saved the $2,000 to do that prior to getting a zoning approval. If the county, in their review of our construction plans, require it, we will do whatever the county requires. I will just say again, with going from the employment center to a neighborhood residential, we are going with a much less intensive zoning that could go on this 32 acres that would generate a lot less traffic than what we could request under the current future land use map. So I think long-term, this puts less traffic on the Cedar Ridge Road than if it stays as currently in the future land use map.
Okay. So while you're here, is there anyone here as a proponent on behalf of this applicant? Okay. Sir? I'm just following protocol. You can talk with Ned. I'm sure he'll open himself up. Yeah, he'll open himself up, talk to you after the meeting. You heard what I request of Andrea regarding the entry. So if there's exposure, open, not tree line on the right of way. If it's tree lined, you don't have to disturb it, fine. But if it's disturbed, or if it's open, that there be fencing, shrubs, and trees for future blockage of the subdivision site from that road right away. Do you have any problem with that as a condition?
This site's fully wooded. And
Okay, so you're going to leave the trees?
50-foot non-disturbed bus
Right.
buffer along the right-of-way.
So-
So we will do a landscaped entrance way where we tie into the subdivision with
Right.
these lanes.
And so any trees that are existing along the right-of-way, you'll leave as many as you can. Where you disturb for your entrance, you will put the fencing, trees, and shrubs in that area that exceeds for grading.
Yes.
You good with that?
Yep.
Thank you. That's it. Anybody else have a question? Any discussion among the board members? All right. If not, I would like to make a motion, LU 260179 and Z 260177, for approval with the condition that was agreed upon by the applicant at our public meeting for the disturbed area for the entry, that anything that has or is currently tree lined on the right-of-way will be left except for what needs to be disturbed for the entry, and that that's disturbed for the entry will be fenced, have shrubs planted, and trees for future screening of that neighborhood from the public right-of-way. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
All right. Is there any public comment? No, Mark, you're not allowed. All right, with that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
I have a motion to have a second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.